Where are we in our text?
We're on chapter 18, verse 76.
Okay.
Mandaha shrutvapi tadas na chahati vimurhatam nirvikalpo bahiryanta antarvishaya lalasaha. A man of dull intellect, even after hearing the truth, does not give up his delusion. Though outwardly, through suppression, he may appear to be without mental fluctuations, a craving for sense objects shall linger in him.
So, this is a very important verse. There are those of us who desire to achieve nirvikalpa samadhi, that state where the mind ends, through various means of thought suppression. And this is a good start at one level of our sadhana. But what happens is it will culminate in what we technically call jada samadhi. So this can happen to a lot of people who take the path of Raja Yoga. Do their yamas, niyamas, they do their asana, they do their pranayama, etc. And then they will suppress the breath with the various bandhas, and the mind will stop. You might get high. But as soon as you start breathing again, you're back to your suffering. Why? Who can tell me why?
The mind restarts.
Why does it restart in that way?
Vasanas.
Yes. So almost without exception, the problem is I want to realize the self and hang on to my attachments for the world. I had a conversation with a student, and she was traveling. She came across some people who were doing Tantra stuff. And she got, I'm going to do Tantra, I'm going to, party and do all that stuff, through the world, blah, 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 blah. She got in real trouble. She was miserable. And she said, I thought you could, Tantra is where you could have your cake and eat it too. You could be engaged and involved in the world and still have samadhi, abide in the self. And I said, well, it's true and it's not true. Listen carefully, Shrunahu. The path of Tantra, where you go deeply into the world, is the more painful path. Both Tantra and Jnana end in Parama Vairagya, supreme renunciation. Let me use a worldly example. So the addict alcoholic starts doing drugs and alcohol. Man, this is fun. I'm going to dive into this. So first it's fun. It's fun with problems. And it's just problems. Beginning, you take the drug, and the drug takes you. Addiction is like dancing with a gorilla. You don't stop until the gorilla says so. So why does a person, if they're lucky enough to stop, do that? because they're sick and tired of being sick and tired. They're so beat up by the terrible, terrible consequences of drinking and using, but they develop the desire to stop drinking and using. Vairagya. That puts them on the road to recovery. Now, more intelligent people, they may go out on a Friday night, have a drink with their friends, no problem. One Friday night, they may go out at somebody's birthday and they have too much to drink. They wake up the next morning, God, I feel terrible. I don't want to do that again. I'm just going to switch to water after the first cocktail. What's the difference between the two? First one goes all the way into the world, gets beat to crap, through suffering, they give it up. The other does it through insight. Does that make sense? Both end up in the same place. You can't see the road if you insist on smooching with the snake. The price tag for steady wisdom is complete renunciation of the mind, complete renunciation of the world. It has nothing to do with leaving the world. It means I've finally grasped that the names and forms are fundamentally void. They're not bad. So wisdom isn't you go to someone told me about a thing called a mansion party. I never heard of a mansion party before. And if you go, oh, all these people, they're so vain, they're so empty. That's not freedom either. It's not freedom either. Wherever your prarabdha brings you, you're present. Don't take the world seriously. What about family? Doesn't mean you don't fulfill your family obligations. What about love? If it's your prarabdha to be married, have a relationship, you do your duty. Enjoy it. But don't think that's the answer to all the problems of existence. So various modes of control of the mind in the end are temporary. We end the mind through deep and profound insight. This is called manonasha. Sounds terrible. The destruction of the mind. Here, it doesn't mean the flow of thought. Flow of thought is not problematic. In the end, even desire is not problematic. As long as at the level of preference and not insistence. Think I'm a person, I have a goal, and I have struggle toward it. That is the moment. Freedom comes from seeing the fundamental unreality of that. Any thoughts on this? Next verse.
Jnanat galita karmayo loka drishyapi karmakrit napnotya vasaram kartum bhaktumeva na kinchana. He whose work has dropped off with the dawn of wisdom may undertake some work as seen by ordinary people, but he gets no room or scope to do or say anything.
Yes. So here, there is ego-prompted activity. And then there's the activity that simply arises because of the force of the past and the desires of other people. So for the woman of knowledge, ego-prompted activity is gone. Be happy when, be better if. Then what do? Shankara says, don't even worry about maintenance of the body, paying the rent, eating. Your prarabdha will take care of it. I joke with people that the Lord has taken me where I need to go because of my wallet. The Lord leads me through life by my wallet because I'm not a trust fund kid. I have to pay the rent at some point. Or move to the Himalayas and live in a cave. Well, that just didn't work out in this life. You have to do something. Oh, just follow your nose. Just follow your nose. Be of service. So from the outside, other people may think that you work from the same motivations as they. You know, people will say to me, oh, Jim, what's your marketing plan? Oh, why don't you start teaching around in various places and things like that to get more students? We thought of writing a book. That's how people get lots of students. Write a book. Oh. This is not about celebrity. Believe me, as soon as you get an institution, then you've got to manage it. And as soon as you get an institution, there's going to be politics. But it's with anything in this world. Any thoughts on this? Next verse.
Kva tamah kva prakasho va hanam kva cha na kinchana nirvikarasya dhirasya niratankasya sarvada. To the wise one, who is ever unperturbed and fearless, where is darkness? Where is light? Where is loss? There is nothing whatsoever.
So, creation did not start 14 billion years ago, or wherever, when they think the Big Bang happened. It's now. It's now. Right now. Brahman is manifesting, imagining this world. I never change. Substratum of the whole creation never change. Oh, the world's in such terrible shape. Oh, politics. Lord will do what the Lord will do. Brahman alone remains. Purnam. Now, we had this concept in Yoga Vasishta this past week. But why do I think the world is so real? Why do I keep getting caught up in it? It grabs me. Who's got an answer?
So I think it's real.
But why do I think it's real?
Because I think I'm a person.
Part of it, it's sankalpa. It's firmly rooted, habituated belief. That's all it is. That's all it is. The three big questions in Yoga Vasishta. Who am I? What is this world? How has it come about? Sankalpa. So what the scriptures invite us to do is stop being unconsciously habituated to this belief in the fundamental external reality of the world. Start entertaining the idea to start with. Maybe it's like a dream. Maybe it's just Leela. The one value of a psychedelic, in my opinion, you've heard me basically say that I don't think drugs are a valid spiritual path. They will do one thing. When you're on ecstasy or mushrooms or something like that, what it does is will tell you that your former way of seeing the world isn't real. You know, oh, the toilet paper's breathing, everything's alive. Oh, I just feel so in love with everything. My hand in the wall, there's no place where one stops. You know, whatever experiences you're having. But what it does is it breaks this deeply rooted belief that my ordinary waking state, I'm my body, world's out there, all its concrete, solid capacity, not the only way of seeing. Now, the problem with the drug is you think the drug state is real. Yoga says, nope, night is real. You are. Any thoughts on this? Next verse.
Kva vivekitva kva niratankata piva anirvachya svabhavasya nisvabhavasya yoginaha. For the fulfilled seeker, yogin, who is attributeless and of undefinable nature, where is patience? Where is discrimination? Where is even fearlessness?
So all these qualities of head and heart that the various scriptures suggest that we practice. Raja Yoga, we have the yamas and niyamas. Vedanta, we have being adhikari, the becoming a fit student. Patience, fearlessness, non-injury, purity, all those sorts of things. These are preparatory practices. Their goal is Shuddha Chitta, a pure mind. In that sattvic mind, self-inquiry is possible. They are not an end in themselves. So for the person of steady wisdom, there are no rules. Now, they may be seen to be behaving in a certain way because it's appropriate. Let me give you an example. I gain nothing through ritual. Doesn't add to my knowledge of the self. But when I was in Jaipur in 2015, and I was at the ashram of Bhuvaneshwarananda, they would do arti every evening. Now, Gurudev just sat there in his chair reading the paper. He had nothing to do with arti. But the community did arti. I did arti with them, out of respect. When I go to Mass, stand up, kneel, sit, stand up, kneel, sit, say this prayer, say that prayer. I believe in one God, maker of heaven and earth, of all things visible and invisible. I say it anyway. I don't refrain from saying some philosophical position. So the yogi is a Jew, a Hindu, a Muslim, a Christian, a Jain. She's all things to all people and none of them. When she's in the boardroom, she's a businesswoman. When you're on the dance floor, you're the dancer. But inside, Shunya Chitta, empty mind. Any thoughts on this? And there's a caveat to this. Remember that the dharma of the body is karma. So, if you behave in a way that's socially inappropriate, your body will reap the results of it. Now, if you're a person of steady wisdom, it doesn't touch you. That doesn't mean that you may not inadvertently hurt someone's feelings. No escape from action at the level of the body. So this teaching is liberty, not license. How many teachers have we seen who they're beyond all rules? Next thing you know, they're getting sexually involved with their students. And there's a train of broken hearts behind them. Oh, I have no rules. This is all for their good, blah, blah, blah. Horseshit. It's bad behavior. Now, if they're a person of steady wisdom, it won't touch them. I can think of a couple swamis that I've known who've been tossed out of the Chinmaya mission for inappropriate behavior with women. Any thoughts on this? Next verse.
Na swargo naiva narako jivan muktirna chaivahi bahunatra kimuktena yoga drishyana kinchana. There is no heaven, nor is there a hell. There is not even the state of liberation. In short, in the yogic vision, nothing exists.
Yes. So I like to frame it with the paradigm that we get in Yoga Vasishta. Both bondage and liberation occur to the mind. The self is ever free. The self does not get realized. The self does not get liberated. It would be like this. So Aditi, I think you should do extreme practices so that you can turn into having a human body. Does that make sense to you?
No,
Why?
so I already have a human body.
Yeah. You can't become the self. You already are it. So what's the problem? In the world of Maya, it's the human mind that has the problem. The suffering mind, the mind in bondage, thinks I'm a person, I'm my body. Thinks the world is real, it's separate from me. It's joy-giving and misery-producing. Rooted in ignorance. My ignorance is like a shadow. A shadow exists because of the obscuring of light. What happens to the shadow when you shine light on it?
Disappears.
This is not any actual existent thing. So with my ignorance. The sense I'm a person, the sense that the world is separate from me, drops through investigation. I can get through my fear of the snake and truly investigate. Oh, there's no snake there. No. You saw me before class. Normally when I take my glasses off, I put them over here. But this morning, for some reason, I put them in my shirt, which I do sometimes if I'm out and about. So there I go, where are my glasses? Where are my glasses? I've lost my glasses. Oh my God. The blind guy loses his glasses. I'm going to find it. Oh, there they are. Real experience. Real experience. Was I without my glasses? No. I just thought I was. Now, if one of you had been my eyeglass guru, you could have said, Jim, check in your shirt, there's your glasses. Oh, okay. So the guru says, look within. Have this radical reversal of the attentive faculty. You're not your body, not your feelings, you're not your thoughts. You're not even the stupid little ego. That past empty space of awareness. So both bondage and liberation occurred of the mind. And from the viewpoint of the absolute, they're unreal. So Swamiji only slept 4 hours a night. But what was his experience in deep sleep? Nothing. Deep sleep is deep sleep. Did he lose his enlightenment? Who cares? I'm asleep. So by getting out of the mind itself starts to change. When the mind itself has the deep and profound insight, I can't think a real thought. Tune up your mind for a moment. From this place, just think the thought, I'm a miserable creature, I'm just goes by. Now think the thought, oh, I am the supreme God. It just goes by. Did either thought change? Now again, this is an advanced teaching. If a person is firmly locked into ego, we get the teaching, self-realization isn't real. And what do I do? Just muddle through life. I'll get a little worldly satisfaction. I'll get comfort, self-soothing. Read the scriptures in the morning. Play my meditation tapes. Smoke a little doobie. That's not free. Ego never gets to arrive saying, aha, I am a realized person. I'm so holy now, touch my feet. The ego sees my existence is stupid. Who I am is wrong. No personal sense of self is real. The mind tries to throw it out. Next verse.
Neva prarthayate labham nalabhena nushochati dhirasya shitalam chittam mrittenaiva puritama. A wise man neither longs for gain nor grieves at the loss. His serene mind is indeed filled with the nectar, the supreme bliss.
So the word he's used here is shitala, isn't it?
Yeah, shitalam.
Which means cool. So again, this is a word borrowed from Yoga Vasishta, probably. Maybe it's the other way around. But for example, if you're to look at the coffee table and you move the bowl that way 6 inches or this way 6 inches, first of all, does it touch you? Does it make you happy or sad? It's just moving stuff around. That's all there is to this world. Move stuff around. Name and form. Fundamentally void. Next one.
Nashantam stoti nishkamo nadishta nadushtam api nandati samadukha sukhastubha kinchita krityam na pashyati. The desireless one has neither praise for the calm nor even blame for the wicked. Contented and the same in happiness and misery, he finds nothing to be achieved.
So again, the surface part of the mind may have an opinion about this or that. But inside, a person of steady wisdom knows it's all just a movie going by. Ever changing. Annoyance arises or contentment arises. What's happening? The situation is either non-conducive compared to the force of the past or conducive. It's all it is. There's no inherent good, bad, virtue, vice. And what we want to do is quit playing whack-a-mole with the world. Ego says, I'm uncomfortable. It's too hot. It's too cold. It's too noisy. It's too this. It's too that. I need to go where it's this or where it's that. And if you look to that, these control issues, endeavoring to find serenity through attempts to control the environment, to control the world, the end is futile. So what the yogi wants to do is give up the tyranny of the indulgent part of the mind, what I call our inner 2-year-old. I want ice cream. I want ice cream. No, I don't want to eat my vegetables. I don't want to go to bed. Ego's always trying to be active, change, control the world. Yoga says, just don't do something, sit there. If an environment presents itself to your mind that's non-conducive, in the beginning your mind is going to just don't do something. Sit. Oh, it's really cool. Just don't do something. Sit there. Gita, we call this attaining to yoga rudha. A rudha is a riding term. It means to mount a horse. Ashwa arudha. Mount a horse. We want to mount the steed of the mind. So we're not tyrannized by its constant efforts to be comfortable, change this, to change that. That's why, for example, on meditation retreats, you sit. And someone across the room is, you sit. Or if it feels too hot, you sit. If it feels too cold, you sit. Get an acre of pain. Sit. So that's why I encourage people, take care of all your stuff that you need to do before class. When you're here, try to be here. Clear out your mind, being distracted about, I need to change this, I need to change that, etc. It's just your ego. It's fascinating. It'll be really deep, working some point of Vedanta, then someone like wrecks the whole energy by going after the candy. Why are they don't really want a piece of candy. They're uncomfortable with silence, with presence. Any thoughts on this? Next verse.
Dhiro na dvashti sansaram atmanam na didrikshati harsha marsha vinirmukto na mritto na cha jivati. The wise one neither hates the world of change nor wishes to see the self. Free from joy and sorrow, he is neither dead nor alive.
So, the person of steady wisdom is perfectly comfortable in the world, but not of it. That's what the Master Jesus said. I'm in the world, but not of it. My kingdom is not of this world. No. Early parts of Viveka Chudamani, Shankara will say, you have to avoid objects of the senses from a distance. That's when you mistake a rope for a snake. I mean, a snake for a rope. Does it opposite. I think it's just a harmless rope when it's really a poisonous snake. Shun sense objects from a distance. We need to do that at some stage of our practice. But for the person of steady wisdom, what power is there in an empty object? It's trinkets and baubles. That's all it is. Nor do we, I gotta experience samadhi. I need to realize the self. At some point, you want to be a mumukshu. For qualification of the fit student, viveka, vairagya, samadhi, guna, mumukshutva, the burning desire for liberation, absolutely essential. But that's for the sada, seeker, for the siddha. Mukshu. I have a friend who says it's not about finding God, it's all about the journey. He says, come home. Let all your strivings cease. Now, again, it's a paradox. We were talking about dance earlier. I think the clearest example is doing a pirouette. If you've ever taken ballet or modern dance, you have to learn how to pirouette. Most of my amateur dancer friends are lucky if they can do one. So you spend a lot of time, you work very hard to find your center. Once you found it, you could turn around. So you take masters like Baryshnikov, who could do 11 pirouettes. So still. So find the place where there's no struggle. Or being a singer. When your sound is correct, there's very little sensation. Singing is effortless. But it takes a long time. You work very hard to find the place where you've been working. It's calm. Same with yoga. Steph Curry hitting his 3-pointers. This is amazing to watch him. Any of you basketball fans? You know who he is, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah. He'll be like 2/3 of the way down the court. How much practice do we have to do to get to that deep intuitive place where it seems just totally effortless? He's not one. Can't do it from that place. So it's a paradox. Next verse.
Nisneha putradarado nishkamo vishayeshu nischinta swasharire pi nirasha shobhate buddha. Shining, glorious is the life of the wise man, free from all expectations, without any attachment for children, wife, and others, free from desire for the sense objects, and without care even for his own body.
Yeah. Nish sneha, is that what it said?
Yeah.
Sneha, there are 2 words for love in Sanskrit. Snehati and lubyati. Both have negative connotations.
Mm-hmm.
One means like an inordinate attachment. Codependent kind of love. taking a hostage. Ch.18 means oily. But the idea of Western romantic love, there is no word for it. We have words like prema, that's love, but that's usually towards God. Priya, somebody's dear. Swamiji used to joke about Westerners who want to fall in love. To fall in love, rise in love. So all these worldly kinds of attachments, engagements, involvements, but this doesn't mean you're cold-hearted. Many people, when they would describe Ramana Maharshi, his face was just neutral. All the stuff would be going by. But if he looked at you in the face, for those of you who are on Facebook, I posted this marvelous description by Swami Tapovana, Swamiji's guru, of his meeting with Ramana Maharshi. And if you're not on Facebook and you're interested in seeing it, text me and I'll text it to you. He sat there for an hour, just looking into the master's face. Not a word was spoken. I think the title of the video is Stillness Speaks. Next verse.
तुष्टि सर्वत्र धीरस्य यथा वर्तिनः स्वच्छन्दं चरतो देशान् यत्रास्तमितशान्यिनः. Contentment ever dwells in the heart of the wise man, who lives upon whatever happens to come unasked as his lot, and who roams about at pleasure, resting wherever he is when the sun sets.
So this is the description of the Avagutta, the wandering ascetic, the sannyasi. All of us need to be an interior, an internal sannyasi. All is mine to use, none of it I own. Many people will say, oh, everything's a gift from God. It's not true. Everything's on loan from God. God is the ultimate real man. House, car, job, health, and in the end, even your body. You just get temporary use of it. Story the Master Jesus tells about the fellow. I'm so lucky. I have so much stuff. I'm going to build an even bigger grain barn to house all the grain I'm getting. It's like, I'm going to get a hedge fund. He's contemplating on all his acquisitions. That evening, the angel of death comes to him and says, "Fool, tonight, your life is required." Oops. All taken away. So cherish what you have. It won't last. Let go. So the woman or man of wisdom lives on what I call cosmic welfare. Other people live on a welfare state. Man or woman of wisdom lives on cosmic welfare. Doesn't mean you don't have a job. But you know, it's all come from God. If that job's taken away, something else will be there for you. Any thoughts? Okay, next.
Patatu te tu va deho nasya chinta mahatmanaha swabhava bhumi vishranti vismrita shesha sansrite. Goes upon the floor for the foundation of his own being and completely transcending birth and rebirth. The Great One does not care whether his body drops down dead or rises up to live.
Yes. So here is a great secret. We talk about the mind being detached. Well, the mind has to attach to something. Huh? I've never heard that before. If it is attached to the world of name and form, it suffers. If the mind is attached, or we use a different word, yoked to the self, we don't call it attachment, we call it yoga. Then we have some peace. We have existential freedom. Nothing's going to harm you. And you know where happiness is. Happiness is the mind having come home to the self. So that's what the yogi depends on. It's Atmaramana. It's reveling in the self. Okay, one more.
Akinchana kamacharo nirdvanda tvashichin sanshayaha asakta sarvabhaveshu kevalo ramate buddha. The wise one stands alone, unattached to anything. He is without any possession and moves at his will and pleasure. He is free from the pairs of opposites, and his doubts have been cut asunder. He indeed is the Blessed One.
Asaktaha, asangaha, not joined, not attached to anything. Doesn't just mean possessions, phenomenal objects, have no attachment for them. But he sees that there's a gap always. So we invite people to take up the practice of Sakshi Bhava in the beginning. Take on the attitude of the witness. Oh, if I wasn't a witness and now I'm a witness. Well, in the end, actually, you don't practice being the witness. You begin to notice you are always the witness. You are asakta, unjoined, unattached. So anything, nothing touches you. A different playground than the rest of the world. All right, we'll quit here today. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Sri Guru Namaha. Hari Om. Thank you all.
Thank you.